How to conquer your fear of motorcycle riding as you age. I notice a lot of fear and trepidation in older riders, especially those that started to ride late in life. Now, fear creates tension and emotion when you're riding a motorcycle, and that increases risk. So let's first look at what's going on. Then we're going to cover the solutions that anyone, yes, even you, that anyone can put into place if they want to. And that's going to go a long way to getting rid of any fear that you have riding a motorcycle. Now, the term as you age can go all the way down into your 30s, because that's when your mind and body start to change and things go downhill. Now, different faculties change at different rates, but all of this accelerates and gets faster and faster as you get older or later in your life. Now, generally speaking, older riders take less risk on the road, and you could say that's a good thing, except when they ride like a grandpa and they're full of fear. I think there's a healthy balance between being ghost rider and grandpa. Now, fear is really just extrapolating negative thoughts into the future, thinking of what might happen in a negative way. It's negative goal setting. And it can be easily removed, easy to change things. Let's get into it. But before we do, you've got to check out this jacket, this fantastic leather jacket from 55 Collection. Now, this has got to be the absolute softest, nicest leather jacket I've ever owned. It's incredibly comfortable. The leather is very subtle and soft. It took about 3-4 seconds to break this jacket in. They've used a cotton liner, which is going to enable the jacket to breathe. It's going to be a fantastic jacket to use in the warmer months of the year. And it's an absolute perfect fit because it was tailor-made, and I suggest that's what you do if you're buying a quality item like this jacket. Now, everyone needs a leather jacket. Now, this particular jacket's got the old school look, but if you like more modern jackets, they've got those covered as well. And for a tailor-made jacket, the price is absolutely excellent. It's a company in Spain. They ship all over the world, and you've got to give them a go because they are supporters of the channel, and channel supporters are what keep the channel going. It's like our own gear at oldnotdead.club. Check out the website. We've got our own merchandise, and that's what keeps the channel going. Right, so here's a quick list of what makes older riders more fearful. First is physical changes. As people get older, their body starts to change. Reaction time, strength, balance, flexibility, it can all go downhill fast. On certain occasions, you can really feel the weight of a motorcycle lifting it off its stand. Slow speed maneuvers, unless you're excellent with your skills. And of course, reflexes are needed for picking those gaps and making precise judgment decisions. And then there's increased awareness of risk. I think as you get older, we're all a little bit more conscious and aware of our own mortality. I think that happens to older people in general. You become risk averse because you've seen a lot, you've done a lot, and you know what the horrible consequences could be. So for a potentially dangerous activity like motorcycling, you can become bound up in fear because of this. And then there's past experiences. I don't know about you guys, but over the years I've seen quite a few friends and acquaintances pass away on motorcycles. I've seen a lot of people get injured. And of course, we've all heard other people's stories, which then adds to that database of horrific news. And I guess that leads to a heightened sense of caution, because it's very easy to forget that there are more safe journeys going on every day than accidents happening. And then there's less frequent riding. Sometimes as we get older, we get busier, we start businesses, we have families, we ride less, or people give it away for a period of time. Less riding equals less practice, means that you're a little bit more cautious as you jump on your bike. You may not have ridden one for a period of time, and that caution can sometimes actually translate to fear. And then of course, as you get older, a lot of people have a changing perception of what constitutes enjoyment. It used to be flying around like a maniac, racing everybody, and that can easily turn into let's go for a cruise and enjoy ourselves. Let's take our time, let's not rush anywhere. And your riding habits change. So you might not have ridden aggressively for a long time, and if you put under some pressure, so then when you push yourself aggressively one day, or there is a call to ride a little bit faster, fear's going to kick in because it's probably been a long time since you've ridden like that. Not that you have to again. And then comes the opposite of this, the bulletproof crew. That's the younger riders. They've got perceived invincibility, so they're going to take more risks. From that, we can conclude that they have no fear, or at least less fear. Now, we can learn from that. So here's a quick list of why younger riders take those risks. Now, the first thing is brain development. Now, there's a part of your brain that's responsible for decision making, impulse control, called your prefrontal cortex, and it's involved in assessing consequences, and it's not really fully developed until you're in your mid-20s. It's harder for them to figure out the pros and cons of the actions they take and what those consequences are in the longer term. So they take more risks. And then of course young people have got that search for identity going on. They're still young. They're still running with a strong desire for social approval, acceptance from their peers, and in particular in group settings, that's going to lead to riskier behaviour. They want to show off, they want to make their mark, they want to gain respect, admiration, you know how it is. They're still trying to find out where they fit in, so they need to explore the limits, they need to push the boundaries in their life. They're looking for experience, they're looking for novelty, they're looking to get their thrills. They want that dopamine hit, and you've got to admit that can be fun. When you're young, it's learning and development time, so you could argue that it's necessary for them to get experience in this way. They've got to push boundaries and limits, otherwise, they're not going to grow. Now, young people also have lower responsibilities. They don't have anything going on like families, businesses that require them to be responsible, so they don't really need to, or perhaps haven't really thought about assessing risks in the way that we do when we're older. And then there's hormones. High testosterone means a higher propensity to take risk. That's why you see guys taking more risks than women. They naturally have more testosterone. High testosterone gives you increased aggression, and when you're younger, it's really hard to channel that in a positive way. So the solution's obvious in my view. It means that we take the best from both the old and the young and combine it to be perfect beings. Now that would mean the wisdom of the oldies and the energy, the enthusiasm, the thirst for life of the young people. So here's what we do. Take the following as gospel. Number one, keep your testosterone high. You've got to maintain your youth. You've got to hang on to it for as long as you can, probably till the day you die. And the same applies to women. They just have a lesser amount of testosterone. They're probably going to be more sensible than we are. Now, exercise is a major contributing factor to keeping your testosterone up, in particular if you do something with weights, and in particular if you do large compound movements that use a lot of muscles at one time during that exercise, like squats. And when it comes to cardio, you've got to do something like high intensity interval training, not all the time, just once or twice a week. That's going to boost your testosterone. Now, you need good quality sleep. If you're not sleeping, your T levels go down, and you've got to do things to lower your stress, and that includes exercise. A lot of people try and exercise like maniacs thinking that it will help them, but exercise is a stress, so you've got to have it proportionate to what you do in the rest of your life. Too much exercise, too much intensity in your exercise means you're going to be stressed. High stress means high levels of the hormone cortisol, and that's going to have a negative impact on your testosterone. Now, take zinc supplements or eat food that is high in zinc. Personally, I use pepitas, which are baby pumpkin seeds, very high in zinc. Don't allow yourself to get overweight. Estrogen, the female hormone, is produced in your fat cells. It'd be a good idea to stay off drugs, and if you're taking medications, check out the side effects. And then there's alcohol. I would get rid of it, or at least lower it as much as you can. It has a negative impact on your testosterone. Now, number two is stopping the physical decline. And you do this by not only exercising your body, you've got to actually exercise your mind. You've got to keep it active. You've got to use it. Some people just do crosswords. Personally, I like a bigger challenge than that, something that involves all of your life. But just do something to keep your mind active. And you've got to use and you've got to exercise your faculties like your reflexes. There are stacks of exercises for this. Try just bounce a ball with both hands like you see in the Rocky movie. You can even chase a chicken if you're really keen. Just doing things with different hands and both sides of your body makes a huge difference up here. Now, number three, you've got to focus on the positive, because fear is focusing on the negative. You've got to focus on survival, on getting home, not on having accidents. And I'm saying this because I see a lot of, at the moment here in Victoria, there are potholes everywhere. The roads are disgusting. The government's got no money to fix them. And a lot of people are focusing on that. Yes, you can have an accident. Yes, it makes it more dangerous. But think about the great big gaps between potholes that you can ride your motorcycle through at 1,000,000 miles an hour or as slow as you like, very safely. So don't focus on the potholes, focus on that beautiful smooth road between the potholes. That's being positive, because fear is just projecting forward into negatives. Then there's risk awareness. Risk awareness means riding defensively, perhaps picking the time and the place to do certain things. As you get older and more experienced on a motorcycle, your risk awareness goes up dramatically. That's not a problem, but you still need to be conscious of it. You've got to know when it's appropriate to push the boundaries, and you've got to know when it's appropriate to stay home and watch Old Not Dead on YouTube. Hey, if you're over 30, stay home and watch Old Not Dead. And then that brings us to practice. I'm a great believer in practicing. Now, to me, it's very obvious. If you're doing something on your motorcycle and you're not feeling confident, I would practice it. If you're nervous around corners, practice going around those corners. If you're nervous hitting the brakes really hard and coming to a sudden stop, practice it. If you can't pop a mono, start practicing. You don't know if I'm serious or not, do you? Let's get the street glide up in the air. And practicing those things and getting better at them, that leads to confidence. Confidence leads to being positive. And once you're positive, you can do anything. Before you know it, you'll be Evel Knievel, or even just the Fonz. Because being positive is the opposite to projecting negative thoughts. Being positive removes fear. Old Not Dead, stay young. If you like today's video, you'll love the video I'll link here.
All that's left, somewhere in your chest, when your sweetheart hit a mist. Oh, oh.